you a special needs parent struggling to find a space for yourself? Well, today we are going to find out some tips for us parents. This is Crystal Sanford again with another episode of Thriving Special Families. And I'm so excited to have my special guest, Sabrina Thomas. Hi, Sabrina.
Hello, how are you doing today?
So good. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So, parents, welcome to your show. Thriving Special Families offers insight, humor, and hope for your special needs parenting journey. If you're listening to our podcast, then welcome. If you're joining us live, thanks for coming. And always make sure to add your comments to the comment section. We'll do our best to answer those along the way. And lastly, always know that the information that is shared is for your informational purposes only. If you're in need of legal or medical advice, please do contact a professional in that area. So again, we are here talking about what matters, and you matter. Care for caregivers. And this is part 4 in a series that we've been doing here in our show. And again, I'm so excited to have Sabrina here because she's an expert in that area. Sabrina Thomas is an empowerment coach. She's an author, an advocate. She works with parents of children with special needs. She has a passionate drive sparked and fueled by her experience as a mother with a special needs child. She works with the vision of educating, empowering, and supporting special needs families through her advocacy. Hoping to broaden the scope of her work and in her line with her vision, she's also started an empowerment community called Girl, Don't Count Yourself Out. All right, all right. So Sabrina, tell us a little bit more about your journey. What led you to go from mom to author and advocate?
Well, you know, 20 years, my son will be 21. 20 years ago, as I was, parenting my son, I went through all these things alone. We didn't have Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff that we have now. So everything was a little bit different. So I kind of went through my journey kind of alone. I had, of course, I had my family, I had my friends, but it's not the same. You know that. It's not the same because they didn't truly understand what I was going through. So I kind of felt isolated, which most parents do. Most caregivers or parents do. But I got approached about, just sharing my story, and I avoided it. I was like, okay, I'm not going to write a book. Right. I don't even, at that time, I wasn't even reading books. So I was like, I definitely wasn't going to be writing in a chapter. So someone approached me about an anthology, which is, getting authors together, for one purpose, one vision of the book. And then there's different chapters and there's different authors. And I was like, no, I talked myself out of it. It circled back and I just went for it. And I'm telling you, that one time I said no, 12 books later, I did it 12 times after that. So I use that as speaking, because when you're writing, it's just speaking. It's just you're speaking in words. So I'm still getting my story out. I'm still getting my message out, and I'm still sharing and promoting acceptance and awareness through my books.
That's amazing. And here you are now, like you said, 12 books later.
Yes.
It's amazing. Look where you've come from till now. And just continuing to get that awareness and that advocacy out there. So that's great. Kudos to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So what would you say are 2 of the most common challenges that special needs parents are facing as they're raising their kiddos? You've worked with a lot of parents, I'm sure.
Yes. I would think there's a lot, but I would think it changes too. When I first started, working with parents and just even myself as a parent, I talked about earlier, isolation, being depressed about what could have been, being depressed of what you thought your child could be. We go through that guilt too. You have a son or a daughter, and you think they're going to be this type of person and raise this type of way and look this type of, and then you have a special needs child. This wasn't our dream. No one dreams to have a special needs child. We just get placed on in our lives, and we just have to do what we have to do. But I think isolation would be number one, because I think still sometimes well, you know what, let me stretch that. I don't go through that anymore. We got too much connection, social media. We have too much to be isolated, but some people still feel that way in the beginning. So I think it changes. So I would say isolation and stress and anxiety. because we stress about the unknown, you know.
Yeah.
I still stress about the unknown. My son is 20. He's still in school. He has like 2 more years because, you know, you can go to school until you're 22 in Virginia.
Okay.
So then what, you know, then what, you know, and as an
Mhm.
advocate myself, I plan and prepare, but you still I don't know what's going to happen in 2 years,
Yeah.
especially with this pandemic. What's
Oh.
going to go on? What's the services are going to be available for him? I
Mhm.
stress, I try not to, but you still stress and have a little anxiety about the future, you
Yeah.
know, what's going to
Yeah.
happen in the future. So yeah, stress and anxiety and isolation would be the top two. We
Wow.
worry about that, you know,
Yeah.
we worry
Yeah.
about that.
I think that those are probably really the top, regardless of where parents are across the country. I think that that's
Yeah.
pretty.
And that's just not even having a special needs. Right now, it's just like in general, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you put the special needs on top of that,
Right. Yeah.
that's a lot, you know.
I
And we
think.
have to make decisions that are heart wrenching, you know,
Mhm.
decisions for our children that, you know, make us uneasy, but you know, we have to do that. You know, we have to make painful decisions, and that's for any parent. But it's different when you have a special needs child. There's things that I have to do for my son, that decisions I have to make that I don't really want to make, but I know I have to make it. I don't know if I'm doing the best. We
Mhm.
second guess ourselves, you
Oh
know,
my.
a lot.
Yeah.
I second guess myself at the very beginning, and only I did that only because I didn't have the information. So
Mhm.
now it's like that's what I promote for my parents. I just promote, you know, to empower them, just like I'm empowered. I want them to be able to be empowered, have the information to be equipped to make those educational decisions for their child, you know, and be okay with that.
Yeah, and that's so good. I mean, cliche as it is, knowledge is power, and it
It
really
is. It really is.
and
It
I
really
think,
is.
yeah, like you said, building that confidence to make a decision, because like you said, so many times we have to come up against real tough decisions
Yes.
more frequently than parents of neurotypical kiddos. So being able to make a decision, look at all your options, know have enough information to make a informed decision, and then be okay with that decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I can admit, Crystal, years ago, many years ago, I
Mhm.
was that parent who didn't know
Yeah.
before I started, you know, before I got certified, before I, you know, I started educating myself. I
Mhm.
was just going along with whatever the teacher said
Yeah.
because they're the
Yeah.
teacher. They're
Mhm.
the expert. Why would they
Mhm.
not tell me, you know, the best thing for my child?
Exactly.
And then I realized that wasn't a smart thing to do as a mom, you
Right.
know, because I'm supposed to be my son's first advocate.
Yes.
I'm supposed to be. That's my job. You know,
Mhm.
that's my
Mhm.
responsibility to do that. And I tell
Mhm.
all my clients that that's your responsibility to be your child's first advocate. You know,
Yeah.
not that the teachers are not, you know, holding the child's best interest at heart, but you have
Sure.
to educate yourself. And
Yeah.
I was that parent that would just sign the IEP, kind of browse
Mhm.
through it, and
Mhm.
just thought that was, you know, whatever you said, that's what it was. But then I learned, no,
Mhm.
we don't
Yeah.
do that no more. We don't
Right.
do that. No, you have to read each and every page. You have to
Mhm.
be, you know, empowered. And you know, if you're not empowered to, you know, you don't feel confident about what you're doing, you're not
Mhm.
going to do that. That's why it's always good, just like you do all the time. You
Mhm.
educate people. You
Yeah.
give people information and knowledge. Because if I'm not, if I don't have the information and knowledge or the resources, I'm not going to feel empowered to do anything. And
Right.
that's why I have so much respect for you because you educate. You educate me. I follow you all the time. I see all your stuff on your page. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Okay, you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and we're educating people so
Yeah.
they can be empowered because they need that. You know, we are responsible for our own children. So
Yeah.
first
Yeah,
and
that's so
foremost.
huge. And I think that it's just very common, like you said early on, to,
Yeah.
just kind of sign your life away, trusting and believing that the team knows
Yes.
best. I heard somebody say recently that you have a PhD in your child. You might be sitting
Yes.
at that table and you think that everybody there has all these degrees and education, but you've got one too, and you've got a PhD in your child, and you know your child best.
That's right. We do. We
Yeah,
do. I'm not taking anything away from the teachers and the
sure. Sure.
therapists.
Yep.
I mean, we're a team, and we have, you
Yes.
know, and that's the thing. It's not just me and then them. It's
Yes.
us.
It's
We're a
us.
team, and I'm part of that team, a major part of the team.
Huge. That's so huge. Yeah.
Hmm.
You are your child's best advocate, and
That's
then
right.
um, being an active participant, guiding that team. These are your teammates on this team. These are your business partners. We're all in this together for the benefit of the child.
Yes, and I think for the most part, the average, you know, teacher, the most part that they appreciate that.
Yeah.
They want us to participate. They need the information, what's going on at home.
Yeah.
Every summer, when my son is out of school, even if he has summer school, I always write a little letter, email back to the teachers and let him know what he did, at home, according to the IEP, what he did. This is some of the things that he learned. Maybe I taught him a little bit more math. Maybe he was struggling in math and counting, and this is what I did for him over the summer. So they'll get to know kind of where he's at. I promote that too. Summer's here. We want our kids to have fun, but we still have to share that information with the teacher. That's just new information, an update. They still need to know. So so this communication is heavy.
That's a powerful tip, parents. So, if you're just joining us, welcome again to another episode of Thriving Special Families. Our topic today is You Matter, Care for Caregivers. And we've got our special guest today, Sabrina Thomas. Also know that our show is always sponsored by Sanford Autism Consulting. If you're in need of IEP advocacy support, feel free to reach out to us at sdautismhelp.com. So again, Sabrina, you just gave a really powerful tip and I tell parents to do this kind of a similar thing, is informing the team, kind of developing a regular open communication.
Yes.
And that can really serve you well as you're advocating for your child.
Yes, because a lot of people have an attitude like, oh, IEPs are terrible. I don't look forward to mine.
Yeah, wow.
I look forward to it. I used to be that mom though. I would cringe. My stomach was hurting. I was kind of having anxiety. But that's way before I started educating myself, understanding the IEP, because a lot of people just don't understand it. That's what it is. We fear the unknown. We don't understand it. You just browse through it without asking questions. We're intimidated about the long table and all the people with all the degrees at the table. But no, I'm valuable. Yes. I'm valuable. I'm the mom. I'm valuable. So you can't be intimidated and understanding the IEP. I used to be that my mom too, but no more. And I try to promote that with my clients as well. No more.
It's wonderful. Yeah. So now, what if we have parents listening, Sabrina, who are new to this journey? I just recently developed a Audible resource. It's on Listenable, and it's called From Diagnosis to Empowerment. So what are the steps to take with that new diagnosis? So
we are so alike in some ways. Yeah. I just started something. I'm working on an ebook called "I Just Got Diagnosed. Now What?"
Oh, I love it. Yes.
So it's like now what? Like what happened? It's so much. I mean, you can just giving tips, but I recommend people to do a lot of research. Okay. I didn't do that at the beginning. I just kind of fell through. Just kind of did whatever. A lot of research. You have to, because my son is different than your child. Yep. Your child is different than mine. If you have autism, cerebral palsy, whatever it is, it's just different. So I just recommend people do a lot of research. And I recommend people have support groups. Join support groups, because it's really therapeutic to connect with someone that's going through something similar. Not exactly and similar, something similar to what you're going through. It's therapeutic, and then when you start getting involved with the schools and the IEPs, if it's a child that's school age, understand the IEP, get an advocate, get Crystal. She'll take care of all of that, But no, seriously, understanding and really going through that IEP page by page and asking questions. Do not sign something that you do not understand. That's a biggie. I did that for years. Yeah. Do not sign the dotted line if you do not understand. And it's okay to ask questions. You can take it home. You can think about it. You can Google some of the words if you don't want to know what it is. Do not sign that IEP if you don't understand. So that's, for me, connecting with people, understanding the IEP, and getting past that guilt. You got to get past, that guilt. Yeah. We have mommy guilt, we have daddy guilt, we have guilt of the child. We have to get past that and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. That's whether if you have a new child you just diagnosed, or if you're 20 years in like me, with a child with special abilities. You have to take care of yourself. We all heard this 100 times. Self-care is important. You can't pour from an empty cup. That is so, so true. Because stressed parents raise stressed kids.
Ooh, wow. All right. Mic drop. That is so good.
That is so true. and ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking from experience. I've been there. I wasn't always an advocate. I wasn't always empowered.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been that mom,
Mhm.
stressed. My son was stressed too. I'm sure he was. He probably wasn't able to tell me he was stressed, but he was
Sure.
stressed.
Yeah.
And then I had an older son. He was stressed too. He told me later on, Mom, I was stressed. It was a lot going on, so we can do better. And I want to empower men and women, moms and dads and caregivers to do better, than what I did, because better, we can do better, you know?
So Sabrina, there's parents out there who are going to say, I hear what you're saying, but I don't, everybody's going to come up with these, many will come up with maybe really relevant, not excuses, but I don't have time. You don't know my kid. I'm a single parent. I can't do this whole take care of myself, self-care. What would you say to that parent or caregiver?
Okay, so this is what I'm going to say to that. I don't think there's no such thing as I don't have time. And I said it. I used to say it. I don't have time for this. I got to do this. I was a single parent. Okay, I'm engaged. I'm still technically single, but I was a single parent for a long time with a special needs child and an older child that was 6 years older than him.
Okay.
By myself, working it out, struggling, trying to make do. So I believe that there's no such thing as you don't have time, because I teach people. I just posted this, I think yesterday. You have to take 5 minutes. Sometimes self-care is sitting in your car before you put the key through the door and this woo sound, like we had a woo sound. 5 minutes. I mean, we laugh and joke, but sometimes you need 5 minutes in the car, 10 minutes, close your door, let the kids do whatever and just sit still. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be, I just came back, I was telling Crystal, I just came back from vacation. It doesn't always have to be going to the islands. It could be going to your car. It could be taking a walk around the block. Sometimes we have to start small, but it's so important. And I know for a fact for me that I am such a better person, a better mom, a better daughter, a better fiance when I'm taking care of myself. Because if I'm stressed out, again, my son is stressed out. The house is stressed out. Yeah. It's important. It's essential. We have to take time. 5 minutes. Start with 5 to 10 minutes. We all have that. 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be hours and go to the spa and you're spending a lot of money. Sometimes it's something that is free. And that peace is priceless. We owe it to ourselves. We deserve that. I told someone the other day, look, we're special needs parents. We deserve that time. We deserve that extra time. Moms in general, but we really deserve it.
Yeah.
Take that time for yourself. I mean, you deserve it. You earned it. You need it. It's essential.
I love that. I love that. Parents, I hope you're listening. It is essential. We've learned a lot about that word in the past year or so. Certain things are essential and allowed to happen, and certain things are maybe not as essential as we thought. Well, self-care, parents, if you're listening, caregivers, if you're listening, it is essential because, like Sabrina just said so wisely there, if you're stressed, if you're parenting from a space of stress, your whole household is going to run in a place of stress. And it not just impacts you, it impacts the children and it impacts the kids who don't have unique needs. It's the dog, everybody's going to be stressed out,
Yeah. And we all went through this pandemic together. We all, and I'm not going to say this whole time, with, during the pandemic, that I wasn't stressed. I was stressed too, worried about, catching the pandemic. I just tell people, I just had to, make sure I took care of myself. Right. I had the 5 or 10 minutes. I was home. We're home, people were stressing about homeschooling or virtual schooling or virtual learning, whatever. I stressed about that too, but I tried to minimize it. I'm not going to say that we're never, ever going to stress, but I try to, for me, I just try to pray more than I stress.
Yeah. Wow.
And my mom always said, you can't do both. You got to pick. I said, Mom, I'm balancing it out here. Right. But you have to take that time to figure out what's going to go on and get a balance. I know, people say, oh, it's easy. I'm no special to anyone else. I have obligations too, as a mom, as a worker, as a business owner, to do things too. So I just have to pick a balance. Some days are better than others. I just try, and I know that I deserve to live a life a certain way and not be stressed. And I know that when I come from that place of peace, my son is happy. He doesn't have a lot of anxiety. That autism can get something else when you're stressed out. There's a domino effect with that, and I try to keep him, at ease and in the house, in peace,
Wow.
It's attainable.
It is. So it's doable, parents. If
Mm-hmm.
you're out there and you're listening and thinking, I want to take care of myself. I hear what you're saying. I see that it is a priority. It's essential. But I think I don't know how to even get started. Like Sabrina said, 5 minutes, even if
5 minutes. Read a book. You
look
know,
for
go.
5 minutes.
You can go into the den or living room or your bedroom, the bathroom.
Yeah.
Close the door. This
Hmm.
that's it starts there. You know, because once you start doing little things, it'll
Hmm.
you can go to. It doesn't have to be like I said, spa and going on the island, taking a trip. Because maybe we all can't do that, but
Hmm.
you can find peace in your home. You
Yeah.
can find, and you need to find it. It's
Yeah.
like I said, it's essential.
That's
And we
wonderful.
deserve that. The whole house, your house deserved that. You deserved it. Your kids deserve it, and it'll make you a better person.
Wow.
Yeah, better
Um,
parent.
this is so good, Sabrina. I want to just try to pick your brain here and think about. I mean, your son is 20 now,
Mm-hmm.
but what is something that you've learned along your journey that now you realize, whoo, I wish I knew this 10 years ago? Because like my daughter, she's on the spectrum. I'm a speech pathologist. I work with the kids. I'm retired as of now. I'm an advocate, but I'm a parent too. I'm right there with you. My daughter's
Mm-hmm.
10. And so, what have you learned along your journey that, man, you wish you would have known maybe 5 or 10 years ago?
Well, I think that planning ahead for me. I mean, I know now, but I think that 10 years ago, I wasn't. I think I knew I had a little bit of information, but I wasn't paying attention because the
Mm,
kids are small. Like he's 10.
yeah.
Okay, I
Hmm.
have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're 15. The next thing you know, they're 20. I would just say planning ahead. Make
Mm,
sure, when the kids are at least in middle school, you're planning
mhm.
ahead for what you're going to do the transition after high school.
Okay. Okay.
What's going to happen? People ask me, well, what is he going to do when he get out of school? What's he going to do when he get out of school? Well,
Hmm.
what happens when you're 18? You don't wait till you're 17 and a half to figure out
Um,
what your special needs child going to do when he's 18.
yeah.
Plan ahead. When they're
Mm,
in middle school, we need to be on top of that stuff.
okay.
I always thought, oh, I got a lot of time and we'll figure it out. Well, no, no. I started
Mm,
planning a little late. I mean, I've been planning now, but just
right.
planning ahead, getting everything lined up. So,
Hmm.
for an emergency, if something
Sure.
happens to me, what happens? I know, whew, I had a couple of stories and
Mm,
people did not have anything in place for children in general, but for the special needs child. And
wow.
it's not a pretty sight.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really not. A lot of people, I think about who will take on my son. That's a
Yeah.
responsibility, a all
Mhm.
day, 24-hour responsibility.
Yeah. For
You don't
sure.
have anything in place, nothing lined up. It's not just about money either.
Hmm.
It's not just
Hmm.
about life insurance policies and people getting money. It's about
Right.
things, you know, the medicine. What's
Yes.
going to happen?
Yeah.
Who's going to take them to the doctor? What are the doctor's names?
Hmm.
No
Oh
one
my
knows
God.
my doctor's names.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Now you're saying that, and I'm not trying to
What do you
publicize, but
got?
I got to say this. I made this journal, not just for
There you
nannies.
go.
Okay, and it's a caregiver's manual, and so I have personally had a lot of health issues, and I have had to be away from my kiddos for extended amounts of time in the hospital, and so I developed this, and it allows you to put, their favorite activities, what's their restroom, what, protocol, what are the behavior strategies, what are their preferred foods, what are their allergies, what are the doctor's names. I made this for that reason so that I could turn it over to my sister-in-laws who helped out, and they felt more empowered as caregivers to then take care
Yes.
of this.
And
Yeah.
what is it that says not just for nannies?
Yeah, so it's not
Okay,
just
I'm definitely getting that. Soon as
oh,
it's called, that is powerful.
okay,
That is
okay.
powerful. That's just what I'm saying because
Yeah,
whether you're getting that, you're right. You have to have that information.
yeah,
But what I do, I have something on my, my desktop.
sure.
But that's perfect because you have to plan. It's
Yeah,
something my son knows. If something happens, you better go on my desktop and open that folder
all right,
because all
great.
because you have to plan ahead. People don't think about that
Yeah,
because we're just living day to day. We're
mhm,
living, not thinking, planning ahead, but we
right.
don't want to think about what's going to
Yeah,
happen for
yeah.
next, but we have to. And just like you, Crystal, I
Mhm.
have a lot of medical issues too. I'm battling my diabetes journey and going
Oh,
through a lot of medical issues. I'm
yeah,
thinking like I want to live to see my grandson get
exactly.
married,
Yeah,
but I still have to plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And I would advise all the parents and caregivers listening to do the same. Make sure that there's a plan. Make sure people knows. Make sure you get not just for nannies. Make sure you get that and get that information for the next person, just in case of an emergency. It doesn't always have to be death. It could be, like you said, you had to go to the hospital, you're sick or something, you need that information. My son is nonverbal. He cannot tell you what he needs. He cannot tell you if he's sick.
Wow.
You know, I have to pay attention to his body, left and right, up and down, to see if something's going on. He's nonverbal. I mean, he can talk, but he's only going to say a few words, but he's not going to tell me when he's ill. So I have to have that information laid out for someone. Like my mom knows, you know, she knows, like, you know, you got to pay attention to, it's in the eyes, you know, something is wrong. But you have to leave that information out for the next person.
That's wonderful. So parents
planning ahead,
preparing, you know, I teach an IEP class and we talk about this. And sometimes I get parents who are preschool parents and they'll say, Crystal, that's too much. Can I not go to that part of the class? Because I'm not. Yeah. And I think a piece of it is we don't want to go there. We don't want to think about.
We don't, but you know what?
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So that would be the thing. We don't want to. It's uncomfortable in general, whether we're talking about our parents, our husband, especially the kids, but we have to. I just think that that's another responsibility as a special needs mom and a caregiver that we have to do. Actually, let me take that back. In general, we should be doing that, but especially because I have like I said, I have a nonverbal son. He has 6-7 doctors that he sees on a regular basis. Somebody needs to know who they are. Where they're at. No one's taking them to the doctor's office but me, but they need to know who they are, where they're at, the phone numbers, you know, the IEPs, or, you know, if it's, you know, something happens while, you know, somebody needs to know that. So that has to be in a place, and we have to prepare that's for the next person or someone to look at. In case I can get into an accident on the way home from the grocery store or something like that.
Yeah, you know? That's so good. So parents, if you're listening, feel free to add your last comments to our comment section. So Sabrina, what is maybe a final bit of advice that you have for our parents who are listening? Maybe parents who are realizing, okay, I think I can do this. I hear what you're saying. You know, maybe some more first steps as they're starting to care for themselves.
Regarding self-care, I just think that we just need to start, because some people, I know a lot of people that I talk to are not doing it at all. Just start. I would say just start. Give yourself some grace. That's another thing we need to do. We need to give ourselves some grace. And we had a rough last year and a half. Everyone had a rough one. We had it rough. It was not easy. You know, virtual learning, homeschooling kids. And some people, I only had one child in school. Some people had 4 and 5 and 3 and 4. I can't even imagine. Like I was struggling with my one.
It was crazy.
We have to give ourselves some grace. Extend yourself some grace, and then make sure you're taking that time. You know, we make a lot of excuses for things that, you know, that we can't do, but just find a way to start with 5 or 10 minutes, and then once you start doing that, you'll understand when you're doing it, and you'll figure it out. You can go from 5 to 20 minutes. We just need to start. I would say that you just need to start. And just give yourself some grace. And there's one thing that I would like to tell new parents and older parents. When you're going through your journey at the beginning, I did this and it really wrecked me. Stop comparing yourself.
Now say that again. That's so
Stop comparing, because my autism son and your autism is totally different. And I used to wonder, why would my child can't do this? And why is your child? I mean, I knew that, you know, everybody says the spectrum is different, but I put that guilt on me. Okay, I'm not doing enough, because this boy over here, he's going to college, and somebody said he's doing this, and he's still playing sports. And why is my son not talking? And I'm paying all this money, trying to do all this stuff and putting all this stress on my child. And sometimes you just have to meet your children where they're at.
They are.
And I learned that I had to meet my son where he's at. If he's nonverbal, he's nonverbal. I'm going to push him, you know, to see what, you know, if he can get to the next level. But my child is totally different, and you have to own that. You have to give yourself grace, and you have to stop comparing. You know, they say comparison is the thief of joy, right? And what does joy do? Come and steal from you, steal and rob your peace. So parents, just own your situation, meet your child where they're at, and be your child's best advocate.
All right, that's it. I think we have done it. Parents, this has been amazing. I'm so happy. Thanks so much again, Sabrina, for being here
Thank
with
you.
us. Parents, if you take nothing else from this conversation, just remember that you matter. Start somewhere in prioritizing yourself. Don't compare your child, don't compare your journey, but do what you need to do for what's right for your family. And inside, trust your gut. You know what's right. If you'll
Yes,
just
we know.
listen and start somewhere, start small, you're going to see some great progress, I believe, in your family. Thank you again for another episode of Thrive in Special Families. Parents, always remember you're going to be okay and your child's going to be okay too. Bye-bye.
That's right.